Holy crap, PlayStation Vita videos.
Okay, hopefully nothing rings in the process. I just had like 9 phone calls in the last 9 attempts to make this video. This is a tutorial that's going to be on the PlayStation Vita. This pertains to downgrading from 3.73 official firmware using the H-encore squared exploit and Mandaru down to 3.60 so you can install the HENKaku and then update to the 3.65 Enso permanent firmware. You can also relate to this video to find out how to update from developer firmware or HENKaku Enso if you've updated from there before. The only way is through safe mode. But this is for also the CEX2 Rex conversion, which would be the developer firmware, how to update from that, re-downgrade, and then uninstall the Enso application data that is still currently on your UR0 on your PlayStation Vita. Might not look like it's there, but it's there, and it causes issues with reinstalling the 3.65 Enso. So I'm going to be going over that briefly in this video as well. So this is going to be a long one, detailed one, but we'll get through it and we'll go step by step. So let's hop over to the PC and going to go over some installation files that you need to download. Alrighty, so here we are at the PC, and like I said, there's going to be a few files you're going to need to download. I've compiled them all into this little package here labeled PS Vita Custom Firmware Files. So what you're going to do is you're going to download this RAR. I'll have the link in the description below. And you can extract the folder out of there, and you'll have all of this fun stuff in the folder. So we got the 360 PSP2 updat.pup as well as the 365. We also have the QCMA setup directly from Sony DL. That's the Content Manager Assistant application. We also have the FinalHE EXE VPK. This is for users that have had Enso installed and swapped to developer firmware and wish to get back to Enso. But in order to do that, you need to update the 3.73 and then downgrade again and uninstall the Enso package. That's what that's going to be used for. We have the FinalHE version 192. That is your H-encore squared that you're going to be needing to use to install the exploit to 3.73. Mandaru is the downgrader application, which we will use with the 3.60 PSP2 updat.pup to downgrade the 3.60 official firmware. We have the QCMA driver for Windows USB, which will enable the PS Vita to be picked up by the FinalHE applications without having to open up the the content manager on the PC itself. And then of course we have the Enso 3.65 updater application to be used on HENKaku exploit on 3.60. So we got quite a few files here that we're going to have to review and go over while we go through the video. But first we're going to be downgrading a PS Vita from 3.73. So we'll swing back over. I'll show you the PS Vita real quick, and yeah, we'll go from there, and then we'll start right back up on the PC where we left off here. Okay, so here's our classic 2000 model PlayStation Vita. I just received this in the mail literally today, and I'm just going to open up settings here real quick, and as we go down to system and system information, you can see it's on 3.73, fine and classy. So now we're just going to hook this up to the PC and work our magic there. So let's get to it. The PC, there's going to be a few things you're going to need to prep and do beforehand of even connecting your PS Vita to the PC. First, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to install the QCMA setup. That's the Content Manager Assistant from Sony. So double click on that, run the application, go through the prompts and install it. Once it's done being installed, then you can run the QCMA driver, a Win USB executable. This will install the driver to help the PS Vita be detected by the H-encore application, which we are going to extract next. So once you install the driver and everything's all set and good to go, you should see the Content Manager Assistant in your right hand hidden icons down the lower section of your PC. Once that's all done and completed, you can double click on the FinalHE version 192 and open up these files. So what you're going to need to do is just simply extract all of these, the documents, language, and the FinalHE executable and extract them to your desktop. In order to extract these files, it is a RAR archive, so you will need an application such as WinRAR or decompression software in order to extract those files. It's not like a 7-zip or a WinZip where you can just use the Windows Explorer. So after you do that, you should see the documents language in the FinalHE on your desktop as follows right there. And now what we can do is we can open up the FinalHE executable. Now you will see this screen, and as you can see, Let's Go is not highlighted. What you need to do now is go onto your PS Vita, open up the Content Manager Assistant, and try to connect to the device, and it will bring you to a screen where it says select the device to connect to: PS3 system, PC, online storage, or Insane system. So with this application open, what you can do now is you can just select the PC section and then select the USB cable for connecting to the device. And the application should read, and on your PS Vita you should come to the PC screen and where you can select connected device, desktop, blah blah blah, and then you'll see copy content PC to PS Vita or PS Vita to PC, and then the backup utility. Once that's done, you can select trim H-encore to 7 megabytes, and when you hit Let's Go, I already have a file downloaded, obviously, but you're going to download a exploitable VPK game file, essentially, and it's going to install H-encore over that image. So you just select Let's Go, and as you can see, I got the Bitter Smile PKG. That's going to unpack, set up, and then install the H-encore and trim it to 7 megabytes all in one go. And once that's done, you should be able to select the copy content, the PC to PS Vita system, and copy over your H-encore. Let's wait for this to finish here. Decompressing, trimming package, creating PSMs. Good to go. Alright, so as I was about to say in the video over by the PC, you'll be at this screen in your content manager on your Vita. So simply what you're going to do is select PC to PS Vita system. After that, you're going to select applications. It'll let me. There we go. And then select PS Vita. You will see the H-encore squared, so select the check mark on that and hit copy. The selected content items will be copied to the system. Hit OK, and allow that to copy over like so. Any day now. There we go. Alrighty, so now that that's done copying over, we can select cancel, go back, exit out of the content manager, and if you scroll down here, you should see H-encore squared. So go ahead and open that application up and hit start. You cannot earn trophies with this, hit yes, and then it's going to open up your live area, and then you're going to want to install HENKaku. So I think it's circle, yeah, hit circle. And then after that, you will select download VitaShell. So hit circle on download VitaShell. Initializing the application or installing the application, then success. And then you can just select exit with circle again, writing the Thai config text. And now you have VitaShell installed on your PS Vita. So now, we're not done yet. What you have to do now is go to your settings, and then you'll see HENKaku settings. Enable the spoofing, enable unsafe homebrew, and the spoof version, I don't think we need to worry about that. Actually, yes we do. For some reason it's on 3.7.2. You want that on 3.7.3. Hit that. And button behavior, circle is enter. Circle is cancel. Thank you. And then we can just go and reboot the device. Or, well, maybe we don't have to. Let's see. Sometimes you do. There we go. Unsafe mode is good to go. All right, so now that we have VitaShell, what we can do now is we can just simply hit select on the PC or on the PS Vita, enable the USB mode, and it will pull up the root directory of the UXO on the PC. So let's go back to the PC and get the downgrade installation files prepped. Okay, now we're at the downgrading segment of the video. So, what you're going to have to do is, like I showed, you go into VitaShell and you hit select for USB mode after you install unsafe homebrew and all of that fun jazz. And you will be at the root of the UX0. That is initially how VitaShell is set up. You can change the USB device if you wish using the settings in VitaShell, but standard setting is going to be the UX0. So what you're going to need to do now is you're going to want to take your Mandaru VPK and copy that over to the UXO. Allow that to copy over like so, and the other thing that you can copy over is the 3.60 official firmware PSP2 updat.pup. So you copy that over like so as well. Allow that to copy over. Then we're going to go and install Mandaru VPK, have the application ready, and then we'll be able to transfer the 3.60 official firmware to the Mandaru folder and rename it as PSP2 updat.pup. So that's the whole initial plan, and we can do that on the Vita. So now we get to go back to the Vita again and do that. Okay, so here we are at the PS Vita, and what you can do is you can go into your UXO after disabling USB connection and scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and you'll see the Mandaru VPK. Now, I did already switch and install Mandaru. I actually ran into an issue that I completely forgot was a possibility, and so I'm just going to state it without the error on the video here. But I've installed the application, Mandaru here, and I've swapped the PSP2 update data, updat PUP from the UXO root, and I put it in the Mandaru folder. So once you do that, depending on your model, there's specific models that were, the lowest firmware was 3.63. This one, in this case, is I have the 3.60 installed here, and I'm going to show you what happens if you can't see. You see the factory firmware says 3.63. That's the lowest that you can downgrade to. So I just want to show you the error that occurs. But what you would do here is, regardless of that, and you're not going to really know per se until you boot Mandaru and it tells you. So you're going to have to reboot the device entirely. And so let's do a full reboot here. And should be able to turn it back on. There we go. So after you install Mandaru and run it, because VitaShell causes an issue with the application running itself, I don't know why. It picks it up as a plugin, but it's not. So what you would do is you would open up H-encore, hit start, hit yes at the trophy prompt. Then you go to live arena. Yeah. It just froze. It's gonna reboot again. There we go. It's another glorious thing of H-encore squared. It likes to just shut the console off sometimes. So we'll just reboot one more time. Go down to H-encore, start, hit yes at the trophy prompt. Then it should, there we go. Now it brings you to the live area. And then all you have to do is just select exit. And then you can run Mandaru. Now we have the 3.60 concept. Target firmware is 3.60. That's the PUP that we put in there. As you can see, the factory firmware is 3.63, and you cannot go lower than that. So never fear, you can install Enso still. We just have to do a secondary step. So we just need to swap the official firmware file with the 3.65. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so like I was saying, if you run into the issue where you cannot downgrade to 3.60, your stock firmware is 3.63, you're going to have to go about a separate method on how to install the HENKaku Enso permanent patch. So looking at the files here, I have you download. I forgot about this third possibility, and so I've added the 3.63 PSP2 update here. So you have the 3.60, the 3.63, and the 3.65. So 3.63, we're just going to take this and we're going to copy it over to the Mandaru folder. So let that copy over, and we're going to downgrade to 3.63. We're going to downgrade to the factory stock firmware. Now, mind you, we have the H-encore squared installed back a while back before H-encore even existed. We weren't able to do this. Now we are. So we're just going to rename this here as PSP2 update.pup or updat.pup and hit enter. And now we're going to go back to the PlayStation Vita and we're going to go through the downgrading process. So here we go. Alright, so back at the PlayStation Vita here, I'm just going to exit USB mode, and we put the 3.63 official firmware file into the Mandaru folder. I'm just going to exit VitaShell and immediately reboot because it's going to ask us to do so anyway when we go to try and boot Mandaru. So, allow that to reboot. I will disconnect this USB for now. And let's hold the power button down, turn her back on. There we go, the Sony logo. I don't even know what's on the screen. Give you the warning. Okay, so let's boot that. Go down to your H-encore squared and hit start. Hit yes at the prompt. Are you gonna crash or go to live area? Hey, going to live area, excellent. So now we can exit and we can run Mandaru and hit start. And the target firmware is 3.63. Do you want to downgrade from 3.65? I did downgrade to 3.65 from 3.73, but now I'm going to downgrade to 3.63 because we want to install Enso and I downgraded to the wrong firmware. So this is also a correction portion of the video as well. So I'm just going to hit X, and this software will make permanent modifications to your Vita. If anything goes wrong, there is no recovery, not even with a hardware flasher. The creators provide this tool as is without warranty of any kind, express or implied, and cannot be held liable for any damage done. I just hit X, and it's going to copy the PSP2 updat.pup to the UDO, and then after that, it's going to copy the self or the .self file of that, the PSP2 update.self, and then it will go to the SCE updater automatically. So yeah, I downgraded this from 3.73 to 3.65, and then I was like, oh wait, I should have did the other firmware. So this is my second downgrade on this console, by the way, but as you can see, it does work. So now it's going to start the SCE updater, and you just have to wait, and then it will start to install the software. I hum when I wait. And there we go. Now it's going to take approximately 40 seconds to install the applications or the PS Vita's system software. Duly noted. So watch this wonderful bar load, and then we'll be going into reboot mode. getting to the 85%. 5 seconds left. It's like counting down the NASA launch. And 100%, and it will reboot. Okie dokie, here we go. Warning, nobody cares. Updating the database. This will do this every single time that you ever downgrade it, just to let you know, so don't worry about that either. So now, we can go to Mr. System Settings and Start. And we can go down to Mr. System Information. And you'll see we're running 3.63 firmware. So, that's that there. So now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to run H-encore. Start that up again. Hit yes on the prompt. Start the live area. Now you can exit. The homebrew environment has been enabled. And we should be able to access our VitaShell. So let's go hit start on that. And there we go. So now we have to copy over a couple more files back to the PS Vita and set up the Enso updater application. So let's go take care of that. Alrighty. So here we are at the PC yet again. Why is this up? I want to throw this PC out the window. So we're looking at the UXO right here on the USB drive E. This is my PlayStation Vita using VitaShell. And you can see the Mondaro VPK. What I want you to do now is we're going to go to our PS Vita custom firmware files. Apparently I have to rename it because my keyboard doesn't like to type an L. Just noticed that now too. Marvelous. And what you're going to do is you're going to select this updater VPK and we're just going to copy that over like so. Now, what I'm going to do for sake of memory is I'm going to type in app and go to the Mondaro folder. And I'm going to delete this PSP2 updat.pup. Get rid of that, just conserve on some memory. And the other thing that I wish for you to do is go back over to the custom firmware files. And we're going to copy over the 3.65 PSP2 updat.pup. Bring that over to the root UXO because we don't have the updater VPK folder set yet for Enso. And we're going to make that when we install the VPK. So just let this copy over. We'll rename it as the PSP2 updat.pup without the 3.65 extension on the front there. And then the rest of this will be done on the Vita. So, like I said, let's rename that yet again. We're going to rename that just PSP2 updat.pup. Simply delete the front margin that I have labeled as. And now we just go to the Vita and we'll finish this video up. Alright, so here we are at the Vita, the final stages of this endeavor. I love when VitaShell is responsive. Do you understand the formality that I have arrived at? Let me just exit this and reopen it so it actually does what it's supposed to do. Here we go. Take 2. Get this USB out of here because I'm sick and tired of looking at it. And, okay, now scroll all the way down to the bottom and you'll see the updater VPK. So hit X on that and hit yes to install. And hit X one more time. And now that that has installed, what we can do is we can hit triangle on the PSP2 updat.pup and hit X to copy the file and prepare to move it. We'll go up to the app, not app meta, app, thank you. And you will see update 3.65. Open that folder and just simply hit triangle and paste. And it will move the PSP2 updat.pup to there. Now what we need to do is we need to obviously come back to the home screen. You'll see the 3.65 HENKaku Enso updater. And what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to reboot the system because it's going to be like, oh, Mr. Plugins, blah, 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 just like with Mondaro. It does the same thing with the updater. So you want to do a full reboot and only run H-encore in the beginning and then immediately boot the Enso updater. Be sure that you have relabeled the PSP2 updat to just specifically that naming, not with the 3.65 in the front of it, because then it will not pick up the firmware. So, like I said, we're just going to reboot, go to H-encore, start, hit yes at the prompt. That will be the final time that you have to do that. Okay, maybe not, unless it crashes like it usually likes to. It just likes to spite me when I'm recording. So we'll just wait for the screen to shut off, and we'll do another reboot again and do it again. Any day now. Go eat a lemon. Thank you. Alright, so let's turn this thing back on. Sony logo. Warning. Thank you. Take two. Go down to H-encore. Start her up. Yes at the prompt. Going to live arena. I can hit exit. And now we can run the HENKaku Enso updater. So hit start. You are about to update to a custom firmware 3.65 HENKaku Enso. Note that once updated, there is no way to downgrade back to your current firmware. That's a lie, folks. There is a way. Remember to never attempt to modify the VS0 or reinstall 3.65 PUP, blah, 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 all these wonderful warnings, and just hit X. And then it states the classic, this software will make permanent modifications to your Vita. If anything goes wrong, there is no recovery, not even with a warranty or not even with a hardware flasher. The creators provide this tool as is without warranty of any kind, express or implied, and cannot be held liable for any damage done. And press X to accept. And now it's going to clean up your UDO, and it's going to copy the PSP2 update PUP to the UDO. And we just simply have to wait for that. Then it's probably going to copy the self, and then it's going to start the SCE updater application yet again, just like Mandaru had done. So here we go. Verifying. 'Tis but a difference. Now, the other issue that you could possibly run into with this application is that Enso is installed somehow. Now, I say that because, for an example, if you run developer firmware from 3.65, the only way to get off the developer firmware is to update to 3.73. And then you would use Mandaru and downgrade. Once you downgrade and you try to update from either 3.60 or 3.63, to Enso, it'll say, please uninstall Enso patch. That's where the Enso EXE VPK would come into play. You would install that, you would uninstall the Enso patch, reboot, re-enable your H-encore, and then run this updater application for the Enso custom firmware. The other thing that could be an issue is if you're running 3.60 and you've installed the Enso patch, you need to uninstall it. Also use the Enso EXE VPK. Other than that, everything else is good to go. So we're just waiting. There we go. And now it's going to extract itself. It just wants to make sure that the PSP2 update is genuine, which it is. And we're removing the old Thai HENKaku files and blah, 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 writing new config files, and do not press any button or power off the device during the update. Otherwise, you may cause permanent damage to your device. Whew. Have a safe trip and see you on the other side. Best regards, The Flow. And firmware update. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Now, like I said, with 3.63, you weren't able to do this before because it did rely on 3.60 HENKaku exploit. But because of H-encore squared, now you can just downgrade to 3.63 on the 3.63 stock firmware PS Vitas, and you can downgrade to 3.60, and you can either A, enable HENKaku within henkaku.xyz/go, or you can just use H-encore on 3.61 or 3.63 or 3.65 and run this updater. I believe the updater still works on 3.65. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's just like a reflashing the firmware kind of deal. But regardless, the majority of the time you're going to be dealing with 3.63 or 3.60 firmware. So I wouldn't really worry about that too much. So allow this to update. And just, hope it don't catch on fire. And there we go. Now we're going to the reboot, and you should see the Enso logo pop up on your screen. Ta-da! Here she is. Warning. Updating the database. Like I said, it likes to do that every single time. And now we can open this up. And we'll go to our system settings first, just to confirm here. So hit start. And you have your HENKaku settings, which is good. And we'll go down to system settings and system information. You can see we're running the 3.65 HENKaku Enso. Now, let's go check our HENKaku settings real quick. And we'll enable unsafe homebrew, just because that's what we do. And we'll go back, exit to the home screen here. And I'm not gonna run H-encore, I'm just gonna open up my VitaShell here, hit start. And you're good to go. So thanks for watching. I hope this helps anybody that has been at fault with trying to update from 3.63 to the HENKaku Enso and was iffy about it. It is possible. Like I said, it wasn't possible before, but because of H-encore squared, you are more than able to update from 3.63 to 3.65 HENKaku Enso. Same thing goes for 3.60. Like I said, if you have Enso installed previously and you have dealt with developer firmware and had to update the 3.73 to get off of it and then downgrade again, use the Enso EXE VPK in the files I provide to uninstall the Enso patch. And that's pretty much it. Any questions, please leave comments or send me a message. Again, my Reddit forum, you can find me on there as Software Reborn as well. You can message me there at any time. And rate, comment, and subscribe. And we're back, baby. So have fun, enjoy, and happy modding.